Get the license number.
What?
The truck that run over your face.
You shot her twice? Is she dead?
I pretty much. Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Time for Full Court Press with Connor. He has hot takes from In the Paint, tough picks from the top of the key, and the best scoops on the NBA from downtown.
Love having him on. It's Connor's Full Court Press. Good morning, Con.
Morning, Al. Thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, I want to hit a couple of sideline conversations that I've been reading up on to have a good conversation with you. I don't know if you caught Draymond Green got fined $50,000 for making a comment when he got kicked out of the Timberwolves game with 4.5 minutes ago. He mouths a 5.5 point spread on his way off the court, referring to the fact that was the spread on the game, what the win was going to be in the game. He mouths this thing. The league calling it inappropriate to question the refs, but guess what? It comes down to a 102-97 win, 5 points. It seems a little pathetic, but I want to get two things. One is, if you're going to have as much FanDuel, MGM Grand commercials, and as much of this in the league as we have, shouldn't you have a right doesn't that lead us to the right that people will be thinking of these things?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's surprising that he potentially had that on his mind. It's kind of unfortunate from a player standpoint that that's where his focus was, even though the series is essentially done. Also, I think, it could have gone one way or another. Is he going to be investigated for having a bet on him, himself? There's a whole, it's kind of a slippery slope and obviously a dumb thing for him to say in general. Them finding him for whatever is a step, but there's a lot of stuff that you could go down a big rabbit hole with that.
And then for this, I read the story. It's like Draymond getting fined. Who cares? It happens a million times. It almost has happened a million times. Here's what at the bottom of the story. So far, Green in his career has been fined $992,000. And because of suspensions, he's lost $3.2 million. Are we paying people too stupid amount of money that literally this cat can lose $4 million plus just because of his big mouth, and he don't care? He's got so much it doesn't matter.
Think about all the good he could have done with that money versus that. It's unfortunate, and he threw around a bunch of comments about why he's got the reputation he does and all these kinds of things. And it's like, no, it's because you hit people in the face and you choke people and you scream and you've created the reputation you deserve.
Yeah. All right. Another side comment I like your thoughts on. The NBA's final, the tournament here is such a different amount of games and amount of time that I think it's leading to some of this. Jason Tatum, right? Blown Achilles. You got the hamstringy with Steph Curry, who's never had one before. I mean, I know we all get older, but he's never had that. We see a lot of these superstars not even in the game anymore because of injuries. How do I put the first round, times you got 5 days off and then you play into, I mean, it's a weird setup to get everybody online. I get it. But this every other day playing situation is not how it works for the first 80 games of the season. Should they not go to play one game, a day off, play 2 games, 2 days off, kind of keep the pattern going? Because all of a sudden, all these guys who are in the freakish best shape of their lives are going down.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. I don't know if it's more about the wear and tear from a really long regular season or if it's about more games in a short amount of time in the playoffs. Either way, it's a lot of basketball and the season's already really long. So you're going to have to trim something somewhere else.
Do you look at go down to 70 games, go down to 60 games for a regular season? Now you got all the stat problems. I understand that. But you're having the best in the league. And what have the Celtics got left with Tatum gone? You got the best in the league, and they're not able to finish these series out. I will talk about it. I believe with Steph Curry was on the court, Minnesota would still be playing basketball, and we'd be playing for our lives right now. That's the difference it makes. But because of a hammy, he's gone.
Yeah, no, I think it's something that folks have been talking about for a couple of years. It seems like more and more stars are getting hurt on the biggest stage. And unfortunately, there's not an easy answer because, like you said, it kind of gets rid of the tradition of the 82 game season, a lot of the statistics and things, but also, if player health is the thing that we're talking about, I think that's probably got to be paramount.
Well, and again, Achilles heels, I don't know how he could have been walking home, I suppose, but it seems like you're in a ball game pushing yourself. That's when it happens. All right, let's talk some of these games. The Cavs and the Pacers, since we talked last. Oh, I guess we both picked that one wrong. It is the Pacers.
Cleveland absolutely fell on their face. Indiana looked great team basketball, and Cleveland looked like the team that had never done that before and was surprised to have such a good regular season. Really disappointing series for Cleveland.
Yeah, and again, the Pacers now have upset. I think it was up the Bucks. They upset the Bucks and the Cavaliers. They are playing their best basketball at the right time. Get in and play this well,
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is the Pacers have a really good chance to make the NBA Finals, especially with the way that Boston series looks like it's turning out.
Well, let's talk about that. The Knicks end up beating the Pistons. That was a great series. I mean, just fun to watch. The Celtics down the Magic, nothing there. But this Celtics-Knicks matchup has been unbelievable. Brunson is a man among men. I don't know where he came from, but he is. And now Tatum's out for the Celtics. They play tonight at 7 o'clock. Good money's got to be on the Knicks, right?
It's got to be, although Boston beat them pretty handedly here this last game.
They are so
Jason
deep.
Tatum.
Yeah, they are so deep.
They're very deep. I don't think they're a championship contender without Jason Tatum. So, we'll see. New York's kind of just gotta finish it off. But I think there's a good chance Indiana beats New York. I mean, it's going to be another great series either way.
Okay. So you still think Celtics move on? You're going to, but then it's
sorry. I think the Pacers beat New York when New York beats Boston. So Boston or New York moves on, beating Boston, and then the Pacers potentially beat them and go to the conference or to the NBA Finals.
But wouldn't the story be, I mean, if we're going to play this out for Minnesota fans, because that's what I am, you get the Knicks in there with the Pacers, they find a way to win, you got Cat going to the championship, the Wolves beat the Thunder or the Nuggets, and you've got that trade, Sarah, and you're right in the face of the championship, right? Wouldn't that be the thing?
That would be something, and it would be a poetic, that both teams were able to get there, especially with New York. That'd be interesting.
I said straight up, I think this was a good trade for both teams. That would showcase it. I think we're better without Cat. I think the Knicks are better with Cat, just mentally and how things worked out. We'll talk about the other side of the fence, our side, coming up right after this. I've got him, Connor, with Full Court Press.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS SHOW.
All right, we've got him. Connor's full court press talking what's going on in the NBA. Let's look at our side. Denver Nuggets against the Thunder. Denver has got their back against the wall. They cannot lose. Must-win situation. Murray calls in sick. They think he's sick, not going to get to play. It gets all said and done, and the Nuggets win 119-107. Jokic is like second banana. He's not even getting the first four lines in the report. He's 2 assists shy from a triple-double, 29 points and whatever, and that's not even the story. Murray goes off. I'm sorry. I think these guys are peaking at the right time, Connor. Am I lying here? I mean, holy smokes, that was a team win.
I honestly don't know that there's another team in the league that could take Oklahoma City to 7 games. And they've got the best player in the world. And the thing we've been talking about for months is Nikola Jokic going to get any help? And he absolutely got the help in this game. Oklahoma City really didn't play that bad. Not their best, but their stars played the way they kind of do. But Denver was just too much for them. And this is the potential of this Denver team, and why, if I'm Minnesota, I'm sitting here hoping neither of them win.
Well, somebody's going to win that ball game. Let's talk that through. So they play Game 7 tomorrow. That'll be in the afternoon. Be must-watch television if you're into basketball at all. Who are you putting your money on to win that? And who do we – well, let's go with that first. Then we'll talk who do you want to win if we're going to play them. Who do you think wins it?
I think Denver wins in Oklahoma City. Yep, I think Denver wins and advances to the finals.
All right, well, that being said, then, let's bust through it. If Denver wins that, I believe that to be the worst matchup for us. But wait a minute, before we get to that, I want to talk first about our game. So the Minnesota Timberwolves end up taking out the Steph Curry-less Warriors.
Yep.
Steph, in the 13 minutes that he played, scored 13 points, and they won that ball game. I thoroughly believe we won by 5, we won by 7, we won by 11. I believe if Curry's on the floor, we lose those.
I think there was a good chance. We went into the series, and I was saying that Minnesota's the better team overall. I think Steph Curry still remains the best player of those two teams, even with Ant kind of ascending as he has, and he's had a great, playoff series or run here in his own right. Jimmy Butler, was okay in a couple of games, but really not very good in a couple. So, Steph not being there obviously was the difference maker. I think at a minimum, we'd be in 7 games. No. I think Minnesota would have been in pretty big trouble if Steph played through.
So I don't know. You take what you got to take. It's not anything the Wolves' fault that he blew a hammy. So I mean, you got to take the games when you can take them. It helps us out. We do it in 5 games, so now we've got some rest while the others play. Not ripping that at all. I would say that the difference maker is Julius Randle.
Yes,
a guy who's never had anything in the playoffs. He always seems to shrink. He's not shrinking. He, to me, is the MVP. I love Ant. Oh, you go ahead. He's the MVP of that. Both the series we've played thus far.
I agree with you. And Draymond Green of the Warriors actually said the same thing. Basically that if your number 2 is going to go get 30 points and play defense and be a spark plug for you, it's going to be really tough to beat you. The Warriors seem to think that the Timberwolves are a championship contending team, and that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, and that's what gets me excited about what's coming from here. Now, the nice thing about it, let's just go Thunder first. Say the Thunder win tomorrow. The Thunder had just gone through a 7-game series. I think we match up better with the Thunder. Height-wise, the young guys with long arms, I think we have a better matchup with the Thunder. And they come off the 7-game series. I like our chances if it's the Thunder. Your thought?
Well, and I also think that, the Thunder don't have the experience again. We always come back to star power and experience. Gilgeous-Alexander is certainly a star. I don't think he's nearly the star that Nikola Jokic is, even still. But Oklahoma City's never been on that stage. They've never been, oh my gosh, we're in a Game 7. I think in a lot of ways it's easy to say, well, we're beating everybody pretty bad in the regular season. We got the best record. We're a shoo-in. We clobber Memphis. Denver's old. Denver hasn't been playing that well. I think it's easy to fall into that, especially as young players. And then now you're in a Game 7 and there's pressure. And how do you respond to that? And how do you respond if you get out of that and you move on? and kind of get your mental rest and be ready for a really hungry Minnesota team. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to be talking about, a Minnesota sports team in the conference finals 2 years in a row. And I think with a good chance to go to the championship, and I would love to see them play the Pacers. I think that'd be great.
Yep. And then the other options, like you said, you believe the Nuggets are going to win tomorrow. I don't disagree. I think when you have the best player on the floor, you always got to lean that way. Jokic is by far that. And if Jamal Murray gets over whatever in the world he's got, and again, it's a back against wall, they're like 9-2 when their back is against the wall. This team doesn't lose. I think we play the Nuggets. And again, I'm sorry, but I think that's the worst matchup for my Timberwolves squad. I don't think personnel-wise we match up. I don't think there's anything Rudy Gobert wants to do with Jokic.
Once again, I think in that series, Julius Randle becomes the MVP because largely he'll be having to help and guard Jokic. And you're right, Gobert doesn't want to see Jokic.
Yeah, so if we get to the Nuggets-Timberwolves matchup, it's a 4-6. Your thoughts? I'm still going to root for my Timberwolves, but it's very much like the Warriors. I don't know that I put my check on it.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I think, obviously we've beat Denver in the past. We've definitely done it. We did it last year. But I think that's a 7-game series. And again, you probably don't want to go into the NBA finals off a 7-game series. And if you're Denver, you definitely don't want 2 7-game series in a row. That's brutal. So it's going to be very exciting. We've definitely got some of the best teams, I think, left, or the teams that'll make things the most competitive.
What's interesting is, like you say, the Nuggets had to take the Clippers in 7, and that the Clippers were playing. That was a great series. Now they're in this series. In the end, does that wear them down, Connor, or does it make them say, "Hey, you do"? Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of travel. That's a lot of again, mental. We have to get this done. Like you said, they show up in the clutch games. Well, that's a lot of mental focus. That's a lot of. I mean, after an 82-game season, again, this is where knock on wood, not rooting for any of this, but this is where people get hurt or people make a big mental error. And I think Minnesota's definitely positioned the best from an endurance standpoint to take Denver. Personnel wise, I agree. I think Denver would be difficult. So it's going to be very interesting to watch.
It's where you got to win your games in 4 or 5 your series, because we had a 5-game series, got a week off, 5-game series, got almost a week off before we got to play these guys. It helps out a ton. Just real quickly, Connor, because I know you're a football guy, you catch the Vikings schedule. We're in like 5 evening games: Sunday night football, Thursday night football, and Monday night football. 2 games across the pond in London and Dublin. Do you care? You like that? Minnesota's all of a sudden the America's team.
I thought we were sending like the Jaguars and teams nobody cared about over to play at 2 a.m. in England. I don't mind the evening games. I'm not a huge fan of the 8 a.m. games. That's a little rough.
You can't get the ribs made by then. That's exactly my point. And here's the thing. You want Dublin wants a game? You play it at midnight. Push it back 4 hours so that I can get it at noon and you get it at midnight. I don't care. We ain't ever going to have a franchise in Dublin, Ireland. Come on. Kind of appreciate you being on the program. We'll see you in a week. We'll go know a lot more about a lot more things by then.
A lot to talk about in a week, Al. Have a good weekend.
It's Connor's Full Court Press.